Travis Wingood's. So I'm wearing black today for tomorrow, which is supposed to be the 5th dark day of Hanukkah. I am, well, we'll do this one first. YouTube uses psychology in their algorithms to abuse and bully their creators and those who view it. And so I was checking out some beaches in Leblon in Rio. Looked fun, so I checked it out. And before I could check it out, YouTube did their commercial. And if you don't understand the psychological abuse that this is, to have commercials on YouTube, what is YouTube for? For creators to post videos. And yet, corporations have infiltrated it. Not just with their advertising, but with their own channels. It's supposed to be for you, people, not corporations. And the first thing that destroyed it was having music on YouTube, music videos. Again, making the path for the corporations to step in. And it was an opportunity to allow musicians in the beginning to make lots of money depending on the number of views they would get, thus also regular people. And so YouTube created stars with their site. And now it's become a job. I'm a social influencer. I make $10 a month. And so the cyber terrorists created bots, and bots purposely were maliciously used to crank up the number of views for certain channels to get that person lots of money. YouTube shut that operation down, and then there's a partner program, and then the new dumbass who's the CEO is the one responsible for the premium and the TV and all that crap. Dear God. But yeah, commercials. And so our viewing of somebody else's video is interrupted by somebody else's commercial. It was frustrating enough with TV, but we all understood we get free TV, and so thus commercials. But YouTube is different, because all of these TV commercial ads have their own YouTube channels. But they are purposely forcing their way on YouTube for us to be compelled to watch them. And I thank SNL last weekend for their little skit exposing the stupidity of YouTube. And so, God, you'll notice I have theme songs in the description below. So I'll listen to it while the video is uploading and processing, and then even when I'm watching, because I have pictures typically at the beginning of my videos. And YouTube is bullying me by shutting down the looped songs. They're supposed to be looped. Means when it ends, it loops back to the beginning and runs again. Nope. YouTube has done away with looping. You have to be interrupted with a commercial now, and then it ends. There is no song continuing. They screw you. It's bullying abuse by YouTube. And we're seeing this a lot these Trump years, as businesses are forcing themselves onto we the customers in order to get more money for the corporate board of stockholders, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it's the stupidest business practice ever, because it fails every time, because it pisses people off. They don't get it. Businesses allow greed to dominate their control over our lives. And YouTube likewise tells us what to watch with their recommendations. And so on this particular video, I was recommended Dr. Ed Weir. He had something on the new Social Security bill, and I wanted to check it out. And so now I'm being flooded with his videos. Biden decreasing access. Then we have Family Feud. I saw that a week ago for an episode, the final thing. The money make, whatever that last part of it is. It's been too long since I've watched it. And so now it's epic X-rated answer stuns Steve Harvey. Yeah, it's always Steve Harvey stuff. I don't see any of the original Family Feuds. Did that guy get busted for child pedophilia like the Subway guy? Footlong. That just decimated Subway. That is just so sad. I mean, it's not Subway's fault. It was Jared's. And then we have Defiant Lawyers Network. What the hell? There's no way I'm going to watch that kind of a channel. Trump must watch. MAGA cheers and mobilizes behind Trump's anti-black agenda is here. We're all doomed. All doomed. Bill passed bigger Social Security checks for millions. That might have been the one I was curious about to see what the new Social Security bill that forgot the debt ceiling increase. And then mega builds, 270 billion race to replace the Panama Canal. That was 7 days ago. Was that when Trump started his demand to return the Trump Tower in Panama back to his daughter? Panama. And then we have something that could be interesting. Saren Berkowitz. I went snorkeling with sharks in the Florida Keys. Maybe not. And then Rabbi David Vigor. Netanyahu makes Peterson go quiet with proof that Israel... ... And then we have it was a Cadillac commercial. God. And so here's the irrelevant irrelevance of their question about relevance. I will never buy from YouTube. My purpose for YouTube is only for watching their videos for free, without commercials. And so, news. Notice there were no news channels in the recommended feed for me. Notice there were no fashion try-ons recommended for me. Unbelievable. This is YouTube's AI algorithm. It is stupid. It is not intelligent. It is doing what they want me to do, not what I want it to do. And so likewise with commercials, I don't want them. Get them the hell out of here. And yet, do you agree that the previous ad is relevant to you? Get it off my screen. There is no answer for that. I don't want commercials. I want it to go back to when YouTube was great again. Make YouTube great again. My God. And so this is the psychological non-dichotomous categorization that they use. Strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree. It's a motivism. That's a fallacy, falsehood. In case fallacy is too big of a word for you. This is psychology. This is abuse. Because if you click on one of those, I strongly disagree, you don't get to explain that it's because you don't have a car, thanks to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. No, it distracts you away from the fact that there are ads on YouTube. And that's the whole problem with psychology. They lie and deceive to keep you away from the truths. So, on the video I did last night on the mission president who died mysteriously, the church says hasn't been figured out yet as to what was the cause of his death. To have a Mormon put a thumbs down on that video, even though it's the same guy who's been putting thumbs down on every single video except for the ones they miss for years. This is the Mormon mindset of abuse. And they get it from the Book of Mormon, but they don't realize they're getting it from the Book of Mormon. Because the Book of Mormon has antagonists and protagonists. We are told in the Book of Mormon that we need to follow the examples of the protagonists, not the antagonists. And yet Mormons have their disconnect in thinking that the protagonists are the good guys, but it's the antagonists that they're following. This is not cognitive dissonance. Remember? Did that yesterday, didn't I? No. They read correctly and believe that Laman and Lemuel are the bad guys. They read correctly that the prophets are the good guys. So no problems there. But when they read Laman and Lemuel, or it's actually when, I'm screwing it up. When they live their lives and they come across me, who they interpret as a Laman and Lemuel, that I am following exactly what Laman and Lemuel are doing. Then they step in thinking they're the prophets, and they then act like Laman and Lemuel to me. This is completely bizarre. This is that indoctrination danger that results from the brainwashing. They act out the wrong script. You're supposed to be the protagonist, not the antagonist. Oh, but the antagonist is more fun. And this is where they get it from, the Book of Mormon. Amazing. But it's the antagonists who are claiming they're being the victims of abuse by the prophets, the protagonists. They're whining and complaining. And so, in 2 Nephi chapter 5, behold, it came to pass that I, Nephi, did cry much unto the Lord my God because of the anger of my brethren. But behold, their anger did increase against me, insomuch that they did seek to take away my life. See, this is me. Not just literally, because it's prophecy, and my new name is Nephi, and that I have had this experience, that, I decipher Paleo-Hebrew. I tell other Mormons, hey Mormons, I decipher Paleo-Hebrew. Joseph Smith is a translator. Isn't that cool? Church is true. Murder him! Burn the witch! Weird. Mormons have sought to take away my life. The prophets, Monson, Nelson, Oakes, have ordered Mormons to take away my life. Right, Todd? Don't ask, brother. And so I am able to liken this directly to me. And so, yea, Laman and Lemuel did murmur against Nephi, saying, our younger brother thinks to rule over us. See, in this particular case, this is tribal birthright blessing son stuff. So that the younger brother doesn't have the authority. He has the authority as the birthright blessing son. This is where he's thinking. So if we were to liken that unto us in our day, yeah, I'm not the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm not allowed to translate. That's how Mormons think. They're not getting it. Because the leaders of the church have told them the Laman and Lemuel doctrines, thought processes, are for the righteous. And Mormons don't make the connection with what they read, that they believe that Laman and Lemuel are the bad guys, Nephi's the good guy, because we're told so. They don't liken the scriptures unto themselves to see that the prophets are saying that that kind of thinking is acceptable. Because they're the prophets. Don't question them. If you have questions, you go to your stake president for disciplinary action. You don't protest against us. You don't murmur. You don't complain against us. You don't mock us, etc. The law of the gospel. It's wrong to criticize leaders of the church, even when that criticism is correct. Lord's anointed are anybody who goes and gets anointed in the temple, washing anointings, not just the leaders of the church. And so this is a very evil thing that the church has done to Mormons. that Mormons just have this complete disconnect. Book of Mormon is true, literal history, Christian, Jesus, and Laman and Lemuel were the good guys who were misunderstood. So the one woman who wrote the Book of Laman, it wasn't a very good job, but she was the first, so you got to give her credit. She kind of needs to know the anthropology of the subject matter. She was just making stuff up. So not using proper linguistic differentiations as the Book of Mormon does, because of the over 13 dozen different plagiarized books. All harmonized by Sidney Rigdon, a major author. Okay? And we have had much trial because of him. Wherefore, now let us slay him. They think Nephi is trying to form a coup against their authority as the tribal leaders. Say, Lehi's now dead. He told them that Joseph Smith would be Messiah ben Joseph, and that I would be Messiah ben David. And now they want to murder them. That we may not be afflicted more because of his words. The Book of Mormon. See, this is where it's disturbing that one person who's Mormon, because they have their patterns of behavior of when they put the thumbs down. They were doing it before church today, which means that there's only the hour church. So I'm very well aware. But they think that because I don't know their identity, that they're fully justified in doing this. But yet when Mormons get busted by the cops, you know, like this 8 passengers woman on YouTube, thanks to a psychologist, they're shocked. They don't understand. What are you doing? I'm the good guy. I'm not committing any crimes. What are you talking about? Chad Daybell, Brian David Mitchell, Ted Bundy. What do we do wrong? We're the good guys. We're the righteous Mormons. The prophets were wrong. And so the prophets milk this when people get busted by the law for what they themselves caused upon the Mormons who got busted by the law. They warn and threaten Mormons, see what happens when you go against us. But they didn't. They obeyed you and got busted. These guys are pure evil. I saw it as a little kid with my peers doing the same stuff. It's where they learned it from their older brother, from their daddy, from grandpa. It all gets passed down generation to generation. They all think it's funny. And then you got these groups of my peers out in Texas and Arizona or New Mexico or wherever that are doing little baby cage matches, babies fighting to the death. Then you have the other one where the women were dressed up as reindeer and then they were hunted. Dear God. And then, you know, that because the regular ultimate underground death matches weren't good enough. These guys are pure evil. So, let's see. For behold, we will not have him to be our ruler, for it belongs to us. who are his elder brethren, to rule over this people. Their understanding of rule is to take away agency. And so they don't understand that they could have said, no, I'm not going with you, Dad. I'm staying here with our wealth. But they went. They could have taken over the family business. They chose not to. They went in and they complaining the whole time. They could have gone back. Chose not to. Now they're in the promised land with cows. And they're still complaining. With Nephi leaving, they're still ruling over the people who stayed. That's still not good enough. They're still complaining. This is Mormons. It's not good enough that I get silenced on YouTube for one video. More. Abuse them. So, yeah. Flee into the wilderness. So Mosiah 10 covers some more stuff that they were complaining about. Let's see, we got to go back. All right. So, yeah, they're talking about the Lamanites generations later, that they still believe the lies that their parents had passed down from generation to generation, believing they were driven out of the land of Jerusalem because of the iniquities of their fathers, and that they were wronged in the wilderness by their brethren, and they were wronged while crossing the sea. See, the people in Jerusalem were wicked. They were doing some pretty bad stuff, according to the documents from that era. But you need to know that it's the Jewish-Egyptian culture. You got to know that rather than impose your morality on them, or Christian morality if you're Christian, which is a major boo-boo that Christians and Mormons do on Bible stories. But nonetheless, yeah, there was some great wickedness going on and neglecting of the poor. Murders, rapes, thefts. Ten Commandments stuff. But Laman and Lemuel believed that the Jerusalemites were righteous. That they did nothing wrong. Just like Brigham Young. Brigham Young did nothing wrong. That's even a hashtag. And so, yeah, they were wild, ferocious, and bloodthirsty people, believing in the traditions of their fathers back to Laman and Lemuel. That they were wronged in the wilderness by their brethren, that they were wronged while crossing the sea, because they weren't allowed to dance. Let's hear it for the boys. And again, they were wronged while in the land of their first inheritance. Bunch of babies. Get over it. And after they had crossed the sea, and all this because Nephi was more faithful in keeping the commandments of the Lord. Goody two, goody two, goody goody two shoes, goody two, goody two, goody goody two shoes. So I'm fed up with Bones. There's some errors in conversion, so I've got to repurchase some year from now, which won't happen. Season 2. But psychology has permeated the show now in season 2, and it's pissing me off. So I'm wanting to find something else now. But Booth calls the Smithsonian workers on his team squints, because they have to squint to see through the microscope to get details of the evidence and blah blah blah. And they turn the squints into antisocial behavior characters, and thus in need of psychology help. But no, they don't. They are able to socialize. It's just that what they have involved their lives with is what they know. And so when you realize that they don't know the pop culture of the rest of the world because they were in a lab or in books doing research and studying, that doesn't make it wrong. That doesn't make them antisocial. They're just different. And this is where our modern culture has caused this kind of problem as prey for psychologists. Because back in the ancient days, that's pretty much all you had. You know, you found a woman that you wanted to breed with, and she stayed at home raising all the billions of kids, and you were out making food and such until a monetary system of economy got created with bigger societies. So other stuff came in to complicate things, and eventually you got our modern society where men and women are able to have careers themselves, and that causes problems as well as enhancements for a family if it can be done right. But there are too many distractions that cause separation, and thus the lack of communication is where, you know, you get a country girl with a heavy metal guy and they clash. You get a Mormon boy with a Christian girl and they clash. My grandpa experienced that. My grandma had died, and his receptionist was Catholic, and so he knew her, and so they got married with a Catholic wedding to appease her religion, because it was just for life. It wasn't an eternal marriage for polygamy. Grandpa didn't want that. And so he thought that would be fine to have a Catholic wedding, but then, you know, forcing of others' agencies kicked in, and she didn't want to join the church, and he didn't want to join the church. And so the religious differences created the separation in the marriage relationship. And so then you get pop culture singers talking about opposites attract, or the contrary position of psychology to pit them at war with each other, of, you know, you got to find somebody who's the same. And when you got such a diverse society, you will never be able to find a man and a woman who are the same. It can't be done. And instead of wanting to learn from the other and enhancing your own life with new things, it ends up being it has to be my way or you're wrong. And that ruins and destroys marriage relationships. And it's so sad as divorces have skyrocketed, as technology and the differences in people's lives expand and increase. So yeah, I see the patterns. But anyway, that's what Laman and Lemuel have done to their descendants in the story. Teaching them that the differences were why they were wronged. And where about the plates? Yeah, they're down in 16. Let's see. And brethren were wroth with him because they understood not the dealings of the Lord. Yeah, they didn't know the Jews. They were thinking Christian Jesus. They believe in a great spirit. They were wroth with him upon the waters because they hardened their hearts against the Lord. Well, it wasn't against the Lord, it was against Nephi. They didn't want to listen to him. That's what we read. Why are you changing? It's exactly the problem with the Lamanites that you're now doing to claim the Nephites were true. Shame on you. And again they were wroth with him when they had arrived in the promised land, because they had said that they had taken the ruling of the people out of their hands, and they sought to kill him. Capital punishment, that's all. And again they were wroth with him because they departed into the wilderness, as the Lord had commanded him. So it was Lehi. They didn't believe that Lehi was commanded of the Lord. And took the records which were engraven upon the plates of brass, for they said that he had robbed them. They had no interest in the plates. They didn't understand them. They didn't want to read them. They wanted nothing to do with them. Until Nephi has them. Then there's a problem. See, Mormons have no interest in the Jewish Book of Mormon until I tell people it's Jewish. Now they have a problem. And so, yeah, they taught their children that they should hate them, that they should murder them, and that they should rob and plunder them, and rape them, and destroy them, having eternal hatred towards the children of Nephi. This is what the prophets have done to Mormons against me. And so when Nelson gets up and Monson and says, Mormons, be kind, love your neighbors, be generous, loving, Mormons say we aren't. It's a reinterpretation based on their lack of understanding the Book of Mormon correctly. Because when they want to take away somebody else's agency, they're automatically the antagonist. And that's what Mormons never get when they think they're going to debate me. They think they're going to get me. They know I'm wrong. They lose every time because they are not thinking Jewish. Automatically lost. See, the one thing that could challenge me and potentially win is somebody who knows all about the Jews. That is prophecy and revelation. That they know the dates. They know the characters, but even still, they would lose because I'm a ringer. Okay? And so, let's go over the month of Tevet, since it's in 2 days. I intended to do this tomorrow, but the intro made it, and so I should stop now and wait on this. But there is some precedent for events in Tevet. We'll stop. This is 40 minutes already, so